Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today,
Thank
Mr. Patrick Walsh on Heroic Hospitality.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Looking forward to it.
So we don't know each other. This is going to be great to get to know each other a bit. And I gave you a little bit about the spirit of Heroic Hospitality and kind of our intention for creating a podcast and spending all this time and energy into having awesome people like you on the show. This show is intended for entrepreneurs, people that are in one place that want to evolve and become something that they're currently not professionally. Entrepreneurs, nightlife enthusiasts, and anyone that somehow, some way, hospitality touches their lives. And I think you kind of hit all the marks. And so I'll let you kind of introduce yourself a little bit, and then I can just speak about the why I would love to have you to answer some questions and just to have us a kind of free-flowing conversation. That's how these podcasts are structured. There's no real intention. I don't really have notes. Sometimes I do if someone has a very specific niche, or if I know them so well that I forget things. And so I'm looking forward to just an organic conversation with you. So thanks for joining us.
Sounds good, and it is nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for you, it's probably all downhill from here. But
you're a pillar in the community, so
yeah.
So much respect for what you do. So please.
Well, nice to meet you. My name is Patrick Walsh. I'm the CEO of McGregor Square.
Yep.
For the people that don't know, we're a mixed-use development right across from Coors Field, kind of on the edge of Lodo, and where it goes into Ballpark.
Yep.
And so we came online in early 2021, and so we are, a couple years in. We, have been. We have a mixed-use hotel, the Raleigh Hotel, which is managed by our partner Sage. It does a great job with the hotel. We did for-sale residences, and then we have a lot of retail partners and then office partners. The biggest thing that we probably have is our plaza, which has a giant screen. So a lot of people have come for sporting events or movie nights, and our whole goal with the whole project is simply just to keep it activated and keep traffic going through.
It's amazing.
That's what our goal is.
Well, I've been through there. I've spent some time there. It's an amazing finished product. I didn't see what it was like. Well, I actually saw what it was like going out of town for a long period of time because there's a lot of construction. What is a mixed-use hotel?
So the whole project's mixed use, and
that's what I thought. That's why I'm asking.
So it's really getting almost every type of use possible.
Okay.
So we have an office tenant mix with companies like Louis Roca, tech companies, and all over the gambit there. And then we have retail partners: Tom's Watch Bar, Caldero, Carmine's, and then our food hall Milepost Zero.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the retail tenant mix plus some others. And then we have a residential component. So we have people who live there 24/7. We did for sale condos, which is something that Lodo has been lacking, and that's something that we thought was important. And then finally the hotel. So we have visitors coming in 365 days a year. On our end, our intention with that was we always knew that baseball season was going to be always rocking because we're right across the street from Coors Field. But we really wanted a development that was 365 days a year. So with that, we kind of hit all the major spots, and then also have our public space, which we have activations and host events all throughout the year.
That's amazing. So even in the wintertime. So what are you doing for the holidays?
So for the wintertime, which
holiday
is definitely
special, another holiday special, everyone. Yeah, there we go.
We're not trying to reinvent the wheel, but definitely holidays is Denver. December, January, and February get a little slower downtown, but what we did is we're doing our second year of McGregor Skate, which is a huge ice skating rink. So we have our rink open, and ready for business on that. So that really draws people in, and then kind of goes throughout the whole place. Obviously the hotel is very festive with the original and the new hotel bar called Call Me Pearl, and then we're doing
what's it called?
Call Me Pearl.
Call Me Pearl.
So it's a gorgeous place, great cocktails, great menu. So it's obviously I'm a little biased, but
of course,
they're doing Edward and his team are doing a great job. But our big activation as well besides skating rink is Sleigh Bar. So it's our food hall that we did a Halloween activation called Camp Shiver, and so it's very kind of miracle-esque. Where we have Christmas movies playing and crazy decorations, and
that's your project. When you say Christmas-esque, that's actually or Christmas-esque. you're referring to my last podcast, Chad Michael George's Miracle Pop-Up. Are you owning that process, or did you get a third party to do?
We do it kind of in-house, so it's not one of the Miracle bars. I kind of was using that to just
it's great. I just was curious if there was another company out there that
we
did it. Or
we do it in-house. Sage manages the hotel. They also manage our food hall as well, Milepost Zero, and so we kind of during the slower months, what we've come to notice is getting activations going is very important. You got to give people a reason to come out, and that's something that we do throughout the entire year.
Yeah, and so when you're talking about like engaging your property, that has a direct relation. You have that implies you have a direct relationship with your neighbors, other businesses and residences. What do you do as like someone that does anchor a community and that someone has perceived a lot of resources, right? Because a restaurant guy like me speaks to a guy like you. There's an assumption there that you have more resources than me, and that's just the assumption, right? Because I come from a very different background, and I actually you come from a culinary restaurant. Is that true? Did you?
Yes. I went to culinary school after college, and then I had a nice little beach breakfast beer joint in Mission Beach for about 8 years. So.
Which was one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show, because now you have that relationship. You've earned the right to have a deeper relationship, right? From the restaurateur, owner struggling, like trying to just put food on the table, to now you're trying to welcome these folks and give these folks an opportunity within your properties. Is that kind of like the short story of the relationship?
Yeah, my place out in Mission Beach, our claim to fame was we were the #1 seller of Natty Light in all of California. Granted, there was only 6 of us, but we were #1. But yeah, it got me to that being on that tenant side.
Yeah.
And my relationship with my landlord back then was very traditional. Just here's my rent check.
Yes.
Anything wrong? Hey, sorry. Look at page 88 of our lease.
Right.
And that's on you to fix. With us, we take a much, much different approach.
Yeah.
We were designing this in 2016, 2017. We broke ground in October of 2018.
Which in that period of time, and I'd love to just have that kind of like ability to like not cut you off, but like in that period of time, Denver was very flush with cash, and it was very healthy.
Yes.
Okay, so I just wanted to start
So rates
with that.
were a little lower, which helped on our end. But, we broke ground in 2018, and then, we're really trying to ramp up our leasing in 2019, 2020.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I wanted to start the conversation with
obviously, COVID hit at the beginning of 2020. And, as a development, we never envisioned us as a traditional landlord of, kind of how I had experienced it, where look at page 68 of your lease, this is what it is. And so when we were going out to market, our big thing wasn't, what rent we could get or anything along those lines.
Yeah.
Our biggest focus was who are we partnering with? COVID did change a lot of things, and most of our deals are honestly percentage rent deals. That gives the operator or the entrepreneur or the restaurateur the chance to ramp up. It makes us have skin in the game with them as well, which we think is important.
What does that mean to you?
Skin in the game. If they do better, we do better. If they're struggling, we're not getting what we want, and then that makes us help them more. And coming out of
what's a way of helping? What do you mean by helping them more?
We do we do a lot of things that probably other traditional landlords don't do. We on the PR front, on the activation front, on the event front, we had an event a few months ago that had Southwest. They took over the whole area.
Yeah.
And so granted, it was a lot of work on our end, but we got it to where Tom's shut off their license, Milepost shut off had their license extend. So we had this huge event that could host 3,000 people.
Is that what you guys can do?
We can do up to 4,000 people, and so we're creative enough that we'll turn the hotel off and we can just make things work.
Yeah.
And so that was a big boon for Tom's and Milepost and the hotel and the OG, and it was great for the client. Southwest had a great event, and that was one of our first really big ones that we'd love to do that. So on our end, we're very flexible. If a tenant's saying, "Hey, can we do this?" we look at it and just try to make it work.
It's amazing.
You know.
And a great example too, because You think of percentage. The way I see percentage rent in a traditional, if I'm in a brick and mortar that is on its own, it's an island, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have the resources as McGregor Square. I'm the kind of person that bets on me, which most entrepreneurs bet on themselves, right? So when you have someone that is so, like, for me, a percentage rent wouldn't work because, again, I'm anchored in a brick and mortar that is an isolated brick and mortar. Mm-hmm. What does that negotiation process look like with you guys? And specifically because you get a third party to actually lease and broker these deals, from what I understand anyway. Is that true?
Yeah, on our end for our retail, we didn't use any brokers.
Oh, I thought you used Larimer Square.
Larimer
Associates, excuse me.
Mary Beth and Bill were consultants of us, but we didn't just hang a sign. So most of our deals were direct. So with Tom's, we met with Tom Ryan and Brooks and Shannon and with them. And on our end, it's great. It sets up that relationship that if there's an issue and during construction, during opening, no matter what you do or plan for, there's always something. It's just there's just always something. And on our end, we view it as a positive. Open communication with them. They can call
transparency
me.
For sure.
They can call me whenever they need anything. And likewise, if I see something, I was like, hey, I saw this. They're not calling Dallas and then trying to get to the right person or anything like that. Yeah. So we're very hands on. We're on site. We've been on site the entire time, and it just helps.
So you have an office on site?
Yes. Yes.
Cool.
So we have our offices there, so they see a lot of me and a lot of our team.
I think is fantastic, and like being on your own as an island, like we are here at Beacon, we have to deal with things like snow removal, the homeless situation. You have 24-hour security, and a built-in infrastructure of a little city, kind of, and so there is, and then so like that type of convincing, I'll use air quotes for that, could be a lot easier. Now, is there any tenants that don't have a percentage rent, or is everybody
we had a one, I wish we could have done it with our bank tenant, but they were against that.
Sure.
But, we have
Makes sense.
We have a couple traditional.
And that's probably like down, like unearthing the reason why is probably a nightmare. It's like, just fine, take it.
No, our bank on site's Bank of Colorado. They've been with us since the beginning. So they financed our project, and we work very well with Jonathan and his team. But some restaurateurs just wanted, Carmine's, for example, really wanted a traditional deal, and we were good with that.
And that's a national. Yeah. National company.
Carmine's, they actually are Denver-based. Carmine's on Penn has their second one on McGregor, and Brad and Arthur and his team.
So they haven't expanded outside of Colorado yet.
Nope, they just have the two locations. Okay. They're family style Italian, and they're fantastic. But, we kind of think about it, and we are pretty open for anything on that. We want it to work for both parties, and the percentage rent has worked well.
Good. Good.
So far so good. So
I'm fascinated by what y'all have created. My fascination also stems from not a failure, but a hiccup I had in my professional career, which is I own Lower 48, which is, if I step out the door, I could see ballpark right in front of me there. And there was a lot of reasons why I believed in this neighborhood at the beginning. And why I thought this neighborhood would support this restaurant specifically that I was trying to create. And the relationship that I had with the developer is the reason why I was able to make excuses for why the 5 and 10 and like ultimately it was about 30% like on the fence, but like that relationship with the developer, was David Zucker. I'm sure. I mean, you guys are probably running a tight group and know each other, and my relationship with him was one of the main reasons why it took me over the finish line for saying yes, because he was committed. He was an active member of our team in the sense of like he was always there, always willing to support me. We became very good friends very quickly. Went snowboarding with him, know his family. The girls came in and like staged in the restaurant. He's got 2 beautiful daughters. And so, understanding that having the relationship with a developer and with, in your case, the broker as well, is really important. There was a broker between the developer and I, but they had a very close relationship. And And it did feel like the broker had our best interest, but it was still a third party that was between us, you know? And so I do think that it's very respectable that you guys are the broker and the developer. So, you know, for those of you that are listening and trying to understand what it's like to open a business, you need to understand the pieces to the puzzle. What makes the cake, right? And so I'm trying to distill that as we go. But ultimately, it didn't work, right? And so the homeless, the traffic, Denver's commitment to doing the things that they were saying that they were going to do. And for those of you who don't know, Ballpark is owned by the taxpayer, right? And it's also owned by your president, right? I'm sorry, they're partners. The ballpark, Coors Field, and McGregor Square is owned by.
Yeah, the stadium district.
Yeah, the
owns
stadium.
Both. So we're on a ground lease, which is a little non-traditional. But you know, I did want to point out, you know, Lower 48 was one of my favorite.
Oh, thank
spots.
you.
You know, they had this octopus dish that was really.
Oh, thank you.
Really
I remember
good.
that one.
And that, I was very. It was excellent. But
thank
you know,
you.
it is important to have a good. I couldn't understand if we had really bad relationships with our tenants.
Yeah.
And it was contentious, and you know, it was this traditional look at the lease situation.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It doesn't benefit anybody.
It's a shallow relationship.
Yeah, it's a shitty it's a
You can say whatever you want.
Shitty relationship. Yeah. But you know, also it just doesn't get things done. I mean, you know, it'd be, you know, right now our biggest thing is keeping things active, and we think all boats rise. You know, we don't really care. You know, obviously, you know, we own the hotel and the food hall, and we want those to be successful, but we just want people on site. If they go to Tom's, if they go to the OG, you know, Flowers on the Vine, our new toy store that just opened up, we just want them here.
Yeah.
And we don't view it as a, you know, zero, you know, we think all things rise. And that's, you know, one thing that is really good about our area is we have a few developments like that. You know, Union Station, you know, they've done a great job.
Great job.
I mean, I moved into downtown in 2009. And what it used to be and what it is now, you know, everything that's good, you know, to me in Lodo, you know, it started with Coors Field getting put there, and then Union Station was such a driver. And then that got people to really put in a ton of money in there. And, you know, Dairy Block is a great partner and is a great across the street partner of ours. But, you know, we want more things that are there that are nice. And then I think that gets rid of some of those other problems that, you know, you see down in downtowns and stuff like that.
I can call you and say, hey, I got a homeless guy, or your security company that you employ. Like, hey, there's a security, or there's a homeless person or a group of them. Please help me. And they were like, on it. Because that's
you're not on an island, and we do have good resources in that sense.
It's amazing.
We have 24/7 security. You know, we're on top of that. You know, all the time. Things happen, but we always have a presence there, and that's a big thing. Union Station does too, and Dairy Block does as well. And you know, Market Station's done some good stuff. You know, Larimer Square. Hopefully, it'll be back next year, or the year
after. What's your take on that? What's your take on it? Because as a consumer and as someone that lives here, I look at it negatively because I know who is responsible for that block, and it's like, what are they? That's just falling apart.
Yeah.
From a person that's invested not only money and time, energy, celebration and loss into this town, which that street was a big part of what made downtown Denver great. I just feel like it's just a complete second thought and greed.
Yeah.
Like that's the thought that comes to my head is greed, because I know a lot of the restaurateurs and owners that is perceived pinched out because money, and like that makes me again kind of like anchored in that way of like that separation of developer, broker, and then restaurateur, bar owner, you know. And I hate to have that feeling about a place that helps bring people to Denver. Can you speak a little bit about what's happening on that street that you know of? Without
and I don't know much more than probably that's in the papers and stuff like that. You know, I know that they've invested a lot of capital in it, and they need it. They want it to be successful. Yeah. And so, you know, we take Dog Savvy. We go there at least once or twice a week just for our dogs and all that stuff. So they have some operators that are still there, and I have a wait and see. It is such an important part of downtown.
Sure is.
That because it kind of ends it right there on 14th. But I'm hopeful that they do a great job on it. So I'll give them a little bit more time. But everybody's goal is the same. They want that to be successful, and the hope is you get some of that Denver element that's still in there, and not just you put national stuff in there, because we used to go. I grew up in Wichita, and so we'd go to Kansas City, and the plaza in Kansas City was always just a great, vibrant place. And one thing that they've done over the years is kind of switch that, where it went from kind of local people who have been there to kind of more of the national chains and stuff like that. And it definitely changes the dynamic. I'm hopeful that doesn't, happen at Larimer, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I know they're working hard on it, and I think that they needed to do a lot of infrastructure work in that development. And
that costs money.
Which starts.
I get it.
It's bad for the tenants. It's bad for them, but hopefully that gets some clarity.
It's really challenging, and I'm always going to fight for the small guy when it comes to this. And it just seems that, again, the perception is they pinched out some people that helped make this town. Like I don't know the ins and outs, even though Troy's a very good friend of mine. Like, how do you let that guy go when he was literally one of the reasons I came to town? Because back in the day, there wasn't a lot of them. Beth and Jen and Troy. There was a handful of people that were doing their best to make Denver great, and really just talented people that were doing what they love. And then in turn, and the result was making Denver great, right? And so that authenticity is what I think that if they don't put energy and effort into paying attention to that, and it's just unfortunate. It does seem like money is coming between that spirit of what brought a lot of people here. I'm one of them, to town. And anyway, I appreciate what you're doing at McGregor Square. Carmine's is a great example. Tattered Covered is a great example, and all your other small businesses is a great example. You're such an anchor. You're such a big, important part of Lodo, and a lot of respect. There's only a handful of developers I would really want to have on here. I'd love to learn a little bit more about your relationship with the other businesses that don't directly affect your bottom line, and that all it is like you mentioned, all the boats should rise, right? And so what does that mean to you when it comes to businesses that you can't control, like a dairy block or like a Union Station? Like, what are you doing to help other businesses around you and celebrate those?
When we first started, part of it was our mix. We wanted to be not only complementary within the project, but in the neighborhood.
Okay.
And so, we didn't, put exactly what they have at Union Station or Dairy Block. We kind of, went out and kind of really wanted to complement the neighborhood.
Sure.
And we did outreach at the beginning. Sage is our operator of the hotel.
I interviewed with them extensively for a period of time. They were an easy group to I should have one of those guys. They do a good job.
Yeah, I can give you contacts. Walter and his team are
great. No, that's awesome. I'd love that.
Tiffany's great at the hotel, but
I know Tiffany.
We do have some decent synergies. Sage manages the Maven. And the Crawford, and then they own the Oxford. So, we're in constant contact with them, and they have that like-minded approach where they just want people downtown. They want them in Lodo, and we feel like, we get people here, and it's good for everybody.
Yeah.
And so on our end, we have great relationships with our neighbors. It's first off, the first step is, talking to them. Yeah. And so, we do something it's called Dashing Through Lodo, where we team up with, the Crawford and Union Station and Dairy Block and the Maven, and just try to get, kind of fun activities down in Lodo. We have the ice skating rink. They got, Milk Market has their kind of Christmas market, and then Union Station has all those things. So, we know that we're all wanting to, get everybody's business, but we all also realize that, if everybody's doing a great job, that's better for everybody. And that's why, with Larimer Square, I hope they do great. I want them to be very successful. And,
it's in your best interest.
It's in everybody's best interest. We just, downtown, it's at a tough point on a lot of things. and security's first and foremost. But I think we do a pretty good job along with our other partners, and DPD. They have a tough gig.
I'm going to have the head honcho on.
Yeah, good. I mean, they
of the police department, because I do think it's important not only to understand what it's like to stay safe, whether you're at a gas station pumping gas, but what your business looks like when you're not there, and how to support them, right? Because they do need a lot of support. Yeah. They are underfunded.
Yeah. And that's what's tough on a single brick and mortar.
Right.
That's what's tough.
And why someone has the best interest to come with you just for that support.
And that's why getting big anchor tenants like McGregor Square, which we hope we're viewed as that,
of course.
They do have a little bit more resources. And so, on the security end, that's something that, we kind of do a little heavy lifting on our little corner. Dairy Block does the same thing.
And security is also, I kind of lump like snow removal and security, because it's also safety. Security kind of go hand in hand. And so that's another resource that you offer, not only the customer, the guest, but your tenants as well.
No, Airmark does a great job on our site.
Oh, yeah?
And, it's their busy season for snow removal. Not this week, since it's going to be about 60 degrees, which I'm good with.
Man, I am so good with it. What else do you do for the community? Because I know that there's what kind of influence would you say that you have for you keep saying brick and mortar, even though that's technically the independent operator that's not in and doesn't have the resources that you do? Because I do know a handful of businesses that are trying to get into Lodo. Mm-hmm. What kind of, and it's like liquor licenses and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like, how do you influence these types of businesses, and how do you see yourself as support for new people coming in that aren't all the folks you just mentioned? Because what you just mentioned was people resourced. Mm-hmm. Again, my opinion, I'm looking at like not over resourced, but a resourced opportunity. Mm-hmm. You mentioned Dairy Block, you mentioned Union Station. These are all resourced opportunities because of what you just said and how they collect their revenue, right? Because they get it from a lot of different sources. Is there any advice or anything you can speak about when it does come to the independent operator that's chosen not to go into McGregor Square, or chosen not to go on Larimer or Union Station? Mm-hmm.
On our end, we don't, we are a single entity.
Yeah.
So we're that's good and bad. We don't have any opportunities outside McGregor for that, but it also makes all of our focus simply on McGregor.
Yeah. But you have influence, no? Yeah. On the neighborhood, if it's
on our end, we try to be as welcoming. Denver Chop House is not on our, they're our neighbor, but we have a great relationship with them, and we try to include them in certain events. Opening days, kind of a logical thing.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
That they have their people out there, and on our end we try to make ourselves available. We like I said, I'm probably gonna say it too much. All boats rise. We want everybody to be successful, and only real advice I give them is when they are choosing their spot to make sure there is a good relationship with the developer or the landlord. There are great developers out there, and then there's some that don't care. And so, I've been in situations where I've been in those where it's the check, and it's just tougher to deal with, especially with all the uncertainty out there, and it's really a team effort on all ends, no matter what, and if there's no team effort on it, it's much, much, much harder. And from your experience with Low 48, if you had a landlord that wasn't working with you, or didn't really care if you were there or not, that's well,
it would have never happened, right?
That's
because
not good.
It was already in my mind like a C+, B- location. I'm like, well, if it's already that, I could make it a B+. Ego gets in the way a little bit, and it's like, I know I can do a great job. I know the talent of my team and the chef, and the relationship with the developer is a lot. There was a little bit that clouded my vision with that, honestly, which is positive, but still like it was a lot. It was a lot to to unfold there. Who are some of the other developers that have earned your respect in town?
Jeff, Jeff, who did Larimer Square. Yep. He was something that we really looked at. Yeah. And just the mix before he sold it. It was Troy. Troy was actually in our food hall for the first year and a half, and we had discussions about doing a bigger restaurant with him. But getting talented people like that, and Jeff did a great job of
spacing his name.
It's last name starts with an H.
Hermanson.
Yes,
that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Hermanson.
Sorry, I'll put that up to nerves that I forgot that. But no, him and his team
for sure.
did
He's
a great job.
solid, dude.
And there is they did have some national. They had a Starbucks and Ocean Prime and
on the
Capitol
hard
Grill.
corner too.
But they also had Tamayo, and then they had
Cadillac Ranch was there back in the
jewelry
day.
stores, and my wife, the place that my wife goes to up there. But anyway, it had a good mix. It had a good mix.
It did have a good mix.
They did a great job. They really brought that block to life, and so they're probably about one that we like. The team behind Union Station, McWinney at Dairy Block. It's just there's great developers out there that you just kind of see what they do and what works.
Chad's a good dude,
and do that. Yeah. No, they're great.
I have a friendly relationship, not a business relationship, just a friendly relationship offline, and hearing him talk a little bit is very inspiring on how his view of community really is. So shout out to the McWinney group as well. And I will say David Zucker from Zocalo Development, just from my own personal experience and his commitment to our small little project, that he spent a lot of time with us.
Yeah.
You guys are busy.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that, everybody should want to make it work.
Yeah.
And so we're more in the solution business. If there's something that comes up and we can, and it takes work. It takes work and give and take on all ends. So.
It does. So you mentioned, holiday season, you mentioned you have a skating rink, ice skating rink. How big is it, and where are the other ones in town? You've had to have done some research on this, because if I'm with my family, it's holiday season. There's one on 16th Street Mall, but I feel like it's so small. Like, it's kind of like, I'll go there. But like, why would we come to your ice skating rink as a family?
Well, because ours is the best, and I thought we were the only one in town, and that there's no other ice skating rink.
Well, 16th Street. Maybe they're not this year.
16th Street, and then I think there's one in Belmar. But ours is brand new, and we have a year under our belt, and it just looks fantastic.
Yeah,
like tonight,
so you can go and rent skates.
Yeah,
and
we
the
can
whole
rent.
thing.
You can rent skates. You can bring your own skates.
Yep.
Tonight we're actually one of our partner. We have a partnership with Volo, who does a lot of like extra after work leagues. They do kickball, and they're going to be playing broomball tonight. So
really?
So
okay.
we try to get creative on it. We have we'll have the football games on, but when there's not football games, we'll have Christmas movies on. So
cool.
I don't think any other rink has a 66 by 20 screen that's playing something. But
66 what?
66 feet.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah. and so we think ours is really special. It just gets better every year. And you can sit at Carmine's, you can sit at Tom's, or enjoy Milepost, and it's all there.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm a little biased on our ice skating rink, but I think I'd get in trouble if I was hawking other places.
Yeah, no. Well, I'm saying yours because of the location and what it has to offer around too. So this might get released. This podcast will probably be released in like the early part of the year. Is there anything coming up at the beginning part of the year or first quarter of the year that you can celebrate a little bit now, that we can push people in that slower period of time to McGregor Square?
We'll have the rink until generally after Valentine's Day.
Okay, great. Good
so
to
the
know.
rink will be up. All our holiday stuff will probably be out by the time you guys
will we launch this? Yeah,
we launch this. But January we have some great things with the stock show that we team up with them on.
Okay.
And then Rockies Fan Fest at Coors Field. They're doing some stuff over at McGregor. So it's with the baseball team, the Colorado Rockies.
But you say Fan Fest like it's a thing. What is that?
Oh, it's kind of when they open up the stadium and they have they have items that they sell, and it's season ticket holders and fans can just kind of meet players and go through that. So that's towards the end of January. So that's good. And then we just have.
Do you know what date that is? Do you know what date that is? The Fan Fest. Yeah, let's talk about that.
January 22nd ish.
Cool.
But
we'll get clear on that.
I'll get in trouble for not having the right date. But
well, no, I'm also going a little bit farther too, because we want to raise awareness to what you're doing and why you guys are so awesome. And so I just want to make sure, like, if we do miss, when is it?
27th.
Okay,
27th.
great. So the 27th, we can come January 27th, 2024.
Yep.
Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year. We can come ice skating with the family, lunch or dinner.
Yep.
Tail end of Christmas decoration. When do you take down the Christmas decoration?
You know, we that first week of January. I think that's
time
established
to go.
protocol.
It's time to go. It is.
And then we got and we got
stock show. What?
Stock show is traditionally in Colorado when you take down.
Yeah, and we have a stock show event. So
and that's in Valentine's. I'm just totally kidding.
So we switch it from Christmas to kind of stock show, and then February we'll have the Super Bowl, the ice skating rink. March,
cool.
We have St. Patty's Parade and St. Patrick's Day.
Is Denver going to be in the Super Bowl this year?
I don't know.
That's putting you on the spot.
Yeah, my team, the Chiefs, aren't looking that great either. So,
that's right.
I
guess when you grew up in Greeley, that's just your team, right?
Yeah, I was. I used to go to summer camp. They used to have Elway and Carl Mecklenburg and all those guys. Where they lived at UNC in Greeley for 2 weeks in August. But I grew up in Kansas, so I became a Chiefs fan when I was 6, and
All right.
So far,
how tell me about your relationship with the Rockies. So, full transparency, I'm not like a huge, just in general, sports fan. I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, when the Cardinals were playing at ASU. So, like, no football, no basketball, obviously no hockey at that time. So, unfortunately, it wasn't part of my ethos growing up. But tell me a little bit about the Rockies and your relationship with them and where we are as a team.
Yeah, the Rockies are a separate entity. We do share that. Our landlords is the Metro District that owns our property and Coors Field. Dick Moffert's our lead investor. And who is kind of the final say. So this is really his vision.
Yep.
And so we're tied to them, but we operate separately from them, and we lean on them for great support, and they do a great job with that.
Now tell me what's happening with them this year, though, as a team.
Sounds
like you're a sports fan.
I'm always optimistic, so I think we'll definitely have a better showing than last year. I take solace
off the politician hat.
I take solace in the fact that Arizona and Texas both had 100-game losses 2 years ago, and then they were in the Super Bowl or in the World Series.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, I got football on my head.
I know.
But yeah, no, I'm optimistic. There's a great energy being right next to Coors Field. They do a great job. With game days, and we're really an extension of that, and they.
In what way are you an extension to like a game day? Because I know game day going on Park Avenue, coming from the Highlands into downtown when it's a game day, and my, what I do every time I leave my house when it's the summertime is like, hey Siri, is there a Colorado Rockies baseball game today? So I do see it pop up on my phone all the time because I'll always go around and go 38th. But so if I am coming to the game day at Coors Field, what is the ideal game day for you and how it relates to McGregor Square? Set me up. What would you do with your family on a game day for the Rockies?
So
where would I park? What would I do?
Our property borders Wine Coop.
Yep.
And so, before this project, they said that 15% of the 3 million fans came in through Wine Coop. It has been gradually getting more and more, where now it's 25%. So, on game day, they're walking right by our place. They see our plaza. And so it's a good place to go before or after the game. Yeah. And, we're right on their gate E entry. So, my favorite game day experience is opening day. I mean, opening day down here is pretty much a Denver city holiday.
Jesus,
and it's fantastic. You don't want to be driving around on opening
day. I had the business right there.
Yeah. So on our end, we look forward to that. It really starts, to me, it's kind of gets, everybody by then, winter's pretty much almost done, even though we always get a snow day in May somehow.
Yeah.
But it's just a good experience. And if you're just moving here, Lodo during opening day is just the best. And this year it's on a Friday again. So,
Is it always the same day or always the same like day of the month?
They try to always aim for a Friday. Last year it was on Thursday. They don't really have control. That's more MLB, but you know, hopefully they having it on Friday is just it's a great time. So
what is that building across the street? So I was like a block away or whatever, and I can look into it.
The Excel building?
Man, is that what it is?
Yeah.
But it's like the inside of that building. It's like it's empty in the and like, what is that building and why can't you engage? Like, what is going on with that thing?
It is owned, and if I'm completely wrong on this, fact check it. It's owned by Excel, the utility.
Okay. Yep.
And I think from what I've gathered, they actually built the building around what was actually there. And so that's why you can see into it. So it's more of a facade to cover up stuff.
That's all you got?
That's what I got.
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
Oh, man. When we see each other next time, if you could just dig a little bit on that
10 years,
deal.
And I can't remember if the guy was messing with me, but, you know, I've seen down into it.
Yeah. It's weird.
That's there. The Rockies
and it's scary a little bit, too, because it's all fenced off. And
the
like,
Rockies are the empty lot next to it. The Rockies are doing an activation space.
When you say next to it, you mean across the street from the stadium?
Yeah. So across the street from the stadium. And so they're going to do, it's been in the city process, but they're going to kind of make that more active, especially during game days.
Well, that's awesome.
So,
You could put vendors out there, food truck. You could make it right.
Yeah, I think that.
And they can get a click off that revenue, too. Like,
yeah, I think it's honestly it's kind of more of a community thing for them.
Okay.
It'll be something that, you know, it'll be great for kids and families and all that stuff. So
when are they going to activate that?
I thought it was starting this year, but
Great.
you know,
we won't hold you to it.
Don't hold me on.
I'm not going to hold you to it. It's just such a weird building. They own the building?
No, Excel owns the building.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Excel owns the building.
That's from what I've
So
got.
now it's like it's up to Excel to make it cool or to tell us what's going on in there because it's weird.
Yeah, it's there. That's not Rockies related or McGregor related. So
yeah,
you know,
all right.
Outside that, they don't tell me much. But
there's this really weird thing by my house too. Anyway, I won't. I think it's an Excel building. I'm just like, what is going on in there? Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. Is there anything that you want to talk about? What are you passionate about when it comes to giving back to the community? Do you have any type of, nonprofits that you support or that you want to support or that you can kind of guide us to? Like what's important to you from a community outreach that you can maybe share with our listeners?
You know, we do community stuff all the time.
Yeah.
You know, with where downtown is at, what happens a lot with our conversations is how to get people down here.
Yeah.
Because that helps not only us, big developers, but the mom and pop brick and mortar.
Sure.
I mean, and I think that's where our real discussions are. And it's been a great progress from 2 years, 1 year ago to now. And so that's our goal. We just want to, you know, make lively activations because I think that's what people want to come down here for. They come down for games, they come down for concerts. People are starting to come back a little bit more for work.
Yeah.
And, you know, being supportive in that is anything we can do. An ice skating rink gives people a reason to come down here.
So
you
cool.
know, a brand new toy store, Peekaboo, which actually did replace Tattered Cover because they've done some reorganization.
Well, I read they went bankrupt, right?
Yeah. So our location was one of the ones that got closed.
Okay.
But, you know, rather than have that space sit empty, we got one of our partners has had a great toy store in Breckenridge and opened up Peekaboo Toys where Tattered Cover is. So,
fun.
You know, ours is just always constantly, you know, adjusting to what everything is. And, you know, I think that's important, especially in these days and age.
Yeah.
This day and age.
Right. and you said there's been a lot of progress with engaging downtown Lodo, downtown Metro. What does progress look like? In what way was there progress? Was it streets got repaired or sidewalks got extended or there was more trees on this one street? Like what is progress in your opinion with that?
I think in general, kind of some of the elements in downtown have gotten better over the last year. Mm-hmm. You know, I think that the homeless stuff is, you know, it's a big problem obviously, and it's for smarter people than
that's why I want to talk about
me.
It on the show.
But it's just to me it's getting better and everything, and I think that has to do with downtown being more active and having more foot traffic. 16th Street, once they finally get that done, I think that'll be a big
What are they
boom.
doing with 16th Street that you know of?
they're working a lot on it.
Right. I don't even know what that.
I haven't seen the final vision of it, but I
Okay.
know that it'll be something that needed to be done, and hopefully as
Who knows?
because visitors coming from out of to Denver, a lot of them are at convention center, and so they see 16th ripped up, and it's not a good look. But I think they do that. Visit Denver does a great job. Downtown Denver partnership, and the new administration. We've engaged with them, and they got a plan forward, and it's nice getting some new life, new ideas, and we want them to succeed, and I think it'll trickle down, but
Great.
hopefully it keeps getting better, and it'll.
Are there
always be
neighborhood associations that you can give shout outs to that you are involved with that you believe are helping the Lodo downtown area?
Yeah, Lodo.org does a great job. That's kind of the kind of business arm of a neighborhood association. And Ladona does a great job. We have
What's that?
Lower Downtown Neighborhood Association.
Okay.
So they just call it Ladona. So Jerry and
it's kind of new-ish. I think one of
It's
my
been-
best friends, Patrick McMichael, who owns a building right across from the Mission, he's on the board, and he's one of the guys that
Yeah.
it feels like starting it from scratch, or they're reorganizing it in a way where
they're being a little bit more proactive. Jerry and Don are my main contacts there, and they really care about Lodo. And a lot of people forget that there are a ton of residents in Lodo,
Yeah.
and so they kind of stick up for the residential part
Good,
of it, and
good.
that's a big driver. And so I think you get more residents down here. That does a good job. I know there's a couple more developments that are putting condos and apartments on there, and so that'll just more people breed a lot more energy, and I think that's important. And
Cool.
because Lodo's great. I mean, concerts are here, sports teams are here. People come down to dinner. Our big thing is trying to push getting people here during the week, and that's the biggest thing we can do right now,
Yeah.
because I think that'll help most businesses.
it's insane how Denver is a very important city in this country for many, many reasons. But the weekend business seems good across kind of the board. Why do you think people are not coming downtown or going out? Or, the office thing is real because that, losing. Do you know the statistic right now about office space occupancy? Do you have that number? I don't. That's actually a real question.
Yeah, it's hard to get one that I can just judge based on us. We're probably we have all of our floor built out, everything's leased.
Yeah.
And we're
You're
probably
100% occupancy right now?
100% occupancy.
Congrats.
But that being said, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays are pretty decent.
Yeah.
Mondays and Fridays are pretty ghost town.
Yeah.
And so I've seen stats from anywhere from 20, 30 to 40%, and I think it's probably
Occupancy, which is horrendous.
Yes, and I think it's a little lower than what they're saying. I'd say 20 to 25% if you talk about actual people in
Right.
there, on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But I don't know how that gets better. I think on our end we know it's going to be a hybrid environment.
Yep.
And so what we do with our office is trying to give them reasons to come here. We activate. We have a fitness center that we're opening up to all of them. We have activations. We try to engage with them.
Yeah.
And that's different businesses are gonna need people in there 3-4 days a week. Some don't.
Right.
And we're just offering as much support as we can do. And it does trickle down to the retail element. And that's one thing to tie it back to what I said at the beginning. The mixed use portion of why we did this is so important, because if office tenants aren't coming in, but we have residents and we have hotel guests, it can kind of even out stuff on that end. But, we want all our office tenants to come in, and we look forward to seeing them at McGregor Square when they come in.
Well, you have a lot of influence in the city. If there's any influence you can shed to this new administration to help make it easy for people to lease spaces downtown, that's going to just only help the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday traffic, because that's where I think a lot of the business was coming from during why Denver actually had more nightlife throughout the course of the week was because more people office there than they come off work and they have a happy hour situation.
No, happy hours
doesn't even exist anymore. It's like I don't even know.
It does. We have some places that are doing great jobs, but it's just not like it was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is, it's a little different time. You have to adjust and do that. And, I am thankful that we got our project done when we did, because I know one thing that the administration was looking at was the permitting and getting approvals on that, and that is really tough. And that is on building projects and getting things signed off. And so it's
a nightmare dealing with the city.
It's tough.
That administration, this administration, it's like
this
there is no
administration at least is saying that we need to fix this, and that's a huge hindrance, because if a project that takes 6, 8, 9 months longer than it should because of permitting, that makes everything more expensive. That gets passed on to the end user, whether it's retail, office, and it just makes things more expensive when they don't need to be. And with 6, 7, 8% interest rates, that's a lot. Yeah. So it's something that hopefully I'm an optimist on this thing, and I hope you get some some new ideas. But that's something that we don't have to deal with anymore. But I know that developers and restaurateurs and entrepreneurs are dealing with.
A restaurant buddy of mine down the street was telling me how a lot of construction projects have just stopped because of construction loans. Yeah. Nightmare. Yeah. If you were to offer advice to this administration, how would you help guide them to make it easier for people like me, the small independent owner operator, not just an owner operator, right? And so what would you offer them as like advice or encouragement to help create and support small businesses?
I think staffing is definitely an issue. At the city level, it's an issue, and there is so much work that comes in, and it's not. I think staffing, they need more staff. Just to get eyes on it, and trying to simplify it as much as possible. Not make it so simple that things get lost, but also not making it more complicated than it needs to be. And it's just tough. The big developments, are really draining, and so the littler ones, I'm sure get pushed a little bit to the side. But just getting the staff in there that can work through the backlog and get it there, because downtown, we need that engine of development and getting stuff going. So that's
9 weeks for our zoning permit. Yeah. For our new spot.
Yeah.
It's for a building that's existing. It's not even like we're building something from scratch.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it's like so frustrating, and I don't know. Yeah. That's something that we can figure out this podcast. So.
I can't help you out.
Yeah,
I know. I'm just glad we got ours done.
Help us. And help the other guy, right?
Yeah,
and so what I will say too is I haven't really done this on the podcast before, but if you are opening or aspiring to open or are on the finish line of opening or just the beginning process of opening, shoot me a message with where you're at and what your heartburn is, and I'm happy to help, because I do think, and that is the spirit of this show, right, is to help people that don't have access to guys like you, that have the resources. Well, you're 100% occupied, but when you don't have 100% occupancy, you have the ability to welcome somebody else into your family, and so what these relationships look like, how the relationships work, the intricacies of these relationships, hit me up, because I think that if I was, in this place where I'm at in my life, where I just want to help people. That's the whole reason why we have the show. I think this is episode 28 or something like that. Yeah, 28, almost 30. Yeah. And this is a beacon project. So, this is all about community. Yeah. They asked me what I offer back to the community. It's like, let's just talk to smart people that a lot of people don't have access to and figure out how to bring up this next generation of brilliant, hardworking, talented entrepreneurs that don't have these resources. And so, however we can support them, that's what we're here to do. So, is there anything else that I missed?
No,
Patrick?
thanks for having me, and nice to get to know you a
stoked,
little bit more.
Stoked to have you on the show. So thank you so much.
We appreciate it. We love to see everybody at McGregor Square. But,
yeah, of course.
Just downtown.
Where do you park at McGregor Square? What's the parking situation down there?
We have underground parking. So we got
underground
2 levels,
parking.
So you can come right in, and hotel has valet, but we'll get you taken care of.
Underground. Where's the underground parking?
Come in right off. It's Wazee and 19th. Wazee and 19th, in between 19th
Wazee and 19th. So if I'm coming from I-25,
you'll take a right.
Make a right.
Yep, and then we're the
Right
first
there.
right. Yeah,
Got it.
we're
Okay.
there. So
Cool. Well, thank you so much.
we'll appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You.